Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Today's video is all about reversing pressure. How do you go from losing a rally to flipping it and winning? In this video, you can expect to learn how one simple shot choice can reverse and turn the tables on your opponent. We're going to talk about the key factors that you must be aware of in order to turn the table on your opponent, and we're going to see all of this in action using Mustafa Asal's example. But first, special day, special surprise. My birthday is coming up on January 30th and I want to do something special as a give back to this wonderful community. So I have decided to give away a free 30-minute coaching session with me, as well as an in-depth video analysis report. This is the same process using the system I've created. I want to give it to one lucky winner for free. Okay, how do you do this? You see a link at the bottom of your screen, and you're going to see the same link that you can click in the description. Go sign up, put your name and email address in, and on January 30th, I'm going to draw one lucky person who's going to win this awesome gift. The more of you that sign up, the more names I will draw. So share it with someone who you think will also be keen to win this prize. Back to the video. So what are those key factors that we talked about? The first one is squeezing your opponent. So this is just the concept of keeping the ball really tight to the sidewall. Even when you're under pressure, this could come from a counter drop. It could come from a defensive drop. It could come from a back wall lob. There are many different ways of keeping that ball tight to the sidewall, even when you are under pressure. And that is the secret to reversing pressure. The second big element, and this actually precedes the execution of the shot, but it is having the awareness to recognize when the opportunity presents itself. And the clip you're going to see, you're going to understand exactly what I'm talking about. So without further ado, let's jump to that. As always, we'll watch the clip in real time first, and then we'll slow it down. I want to take a moment to thank PSA Squash TV, Squash Skills, who are closely affiliated with them, for sharing these clips with us. Pull out your pen and paper and let's make some notes. Here we go. So as you can see, Asal is under a fair bit of pressure over here. And there is the reversal. Okay, so let's talk about this step by step. And in fact, I'll talk about a couple of extra things along the way to make it even more valuable for you. So the first thing we see is that Elias is getting his length through the court. At this point, they're at even ground. This is the first example of the squeeze. You see, Elias's length is so tight to that sidewall. Asal doesn't have any options. He cannot physically get that racket all around the ball to hit it cross court, which is why Elias, if you watch his feet, can cheat over because he's expecting something straight to come out of it. Asal's just trying his best to get that ball off the sidewall as tight as possible into the back court. Now, he catches the sidewall, and here we go. If you noticed a second ago, a few frames ago, right there, watch this. Look at Elias's face. Right here, he knows his ball is coming loose. He turns around to look at Mustafa Asal's position. He's still watching. He sees where Asal is positioned, and now he has a strong idea of where he is. So now you might be wondering, okay, why is Mustafa Asal pushing up? Well, from this position, you have to think about basic tactics. The furthest part in the court for Diego Elias and for Mustafa Asal to retrieve the ball from is somewhere on the right side. Mustafa Asal is pushing up because Diego Elias has the cross-court drop option. If he puts that in, Asal has to come in front of him to be able to cover that. If Asal hangs back, Elias is the obvious shot, being the front right cross-court drop. By Asal coming forward, he's able to cover the front of the court, and then Elias, recognizing this, hits into the back of the court, thus making Asal do the extra work to come around in front of Elias and go to the back of the court. And that's exactly what we see unfold over here. Asal looks to try to lift the ball and get it high, getting back to the tee. In this situation, Elias, if I go back a few frames, Elias holds a little bit right there, and then hits through. That hold is what, again, because the ball is loose and Elias holds, the hold is what sends Asal forward again, and then forces him to come around Elias to go retrieve the next shot. And again, he's under pressure doing his best to lift. Elias puts the drop in. That's the awareness recognition piece right there. So if I rewind this a little bit, watch the speed with which Asal accelerates onto this ball. So remember, this is slow motion. And here we go, and boom, he's off. Quick awareness. And what does he do? Step one, awareness. Step two, puts in the squeeze and counter drop. Asal accelerated onto the ball, took the ball early, squeezed Elias. From that position, Asal is poaching a little bit to the right because chances are that Elias is going to have a tough time generating a really positive angle to hit the cross court past Asal. The risk, though, you would think, okay, why didn't Elias lob the ball straight? Well, Elias didn't lob the ball straight or hit a straight drive because the ball is so tight. If he mishits it a little bit, Asal is there, automatic stroke. So he has to take his chances by going cross, trying to get that ball past Asal. Obviously, given how tight Asal's counter is, the ball ends up in the middle of the court, and Asal does really well to put that ball away. A couple of things to point out here. If you remember, I created a video about the 1-2 punch combo and a couple of these combination videos, which I'll link to over here. But I always talked about the combination from the perspective of one person initiating the attack. So based on what we saw here, the combination would have theoretically been Diego Elias putting in this drop, squeezing Asal, forcing a weak ball, playing the second shot. This is an awesome example of a counter-attacking 1-2 punch combo. So this is really important. If you're being run around the court, if you get one opportunity and you're aware of that opportunity and you seize the opportunity, you can go in just like Asal did, accelerate onto that ball in the front, put this counter drop in, squeeze your opponent in reverse. So this is the first of the 1-2 punch. He's now squeezed Elias, and boom, second shot in the 1-2 punch combo. So let's step back for a second and think about how you can apply this to your own game. So number one, like I said, you need to be aware and recognize when to try to just lift and buy yourself time, like Asal was in the back of the court. And then when your opponent takes you short and they miss, have the awareness and recognition to accelerate onto that ball, counterattack them, and either win the point outright or reverse the pressure, just like Asal did in an optimal scenario with a 1-2 punch combo. The second layer to all of that is having the skill and consistency to be able to either, number one, defend really accurately. So when you're hitting those lobs, try to get the ball past your opponent. Number two, be able to squeeze your opponent with the counter attack. I also mentioned a couple of other shots earlier, a defensive drop, and I made a video about this with Joel MAKIN, which I'll link to. You can go in, put a high drop on the front wall, but stick it to the side wall, and you suddenly reverse the pressure. You can also hit a back wall lob, for example. If you're under a tremendous amount of pressure in the back of the court, hit a cross-court lob that goes and sticks to the side wall when it comes off the front wall. Another way to reverse pressure. But it takes a lot of skill, it takes a lot of practice. And this, what I put here is simplify on your screen that you see, racket face control. When you're putting in some of these counterattacks when you're under pressure, you don't need to do anything too fancy. You don't need to carve the ball too much. You don't need to do any of that. More often than not, a simple nudge onto the front wall, just focusing on squeezing, goes way further than trying to do something overly fancy. And then point number three, summarizing everything, I just wanted to give you an example of my own. A few years ago, I used to train with Shahier Razik. He's an Egyptian Canadian. He got up to number 20 in the world, and he and I would train pretty often just before COVID hit. And I remember the first few times he and I trained several years ago, I was just bewildered. I'd hit what I thought was one of my best drop shots in the world, and then he'd get on it and just hit this magnificent lob that if I didn't volley it before the back wall, I would have lost the point outright. So just goes to show you that by practicing your skill and being able to consistently execute certain shots, you can actually reverse the pressure using height. You can reverse the pressure by counterattacking in the front of the court or the back of the court. And a final reminder, put your name and email address into the contest to win a complimentary 30-minute coaching session with me alongside an in-depth video analysis report. You see the link on your screen. Click the link from the description below this video. And if you're interested in learning more about the coaching services that I offer, send me an email at ahad@arperformance.com. But only do that if you feel like you're getting a ton of value out of these videos, you want to work directly with me, you're keen and committed, you understand the value of premium services. I've devised a system that is extremely effective. Several of my students, ranging from 13, 14, 15, 16, to people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and even 70s, are experiencing tremendous improvement. Recently, one of my students, a lovely gentleman from the UK, around 50 years of age, showed me his squash levels graph, and it's gone from being around 4,000 up to about 6,500 in less than 1 year. And we've set some ambitious goals to reach 8,000 with a stretch goal of 10,000 this year. So tremendous, tremendous growth. And this is not a case in isolation. It's a common theme. So if you're interested in it, you're ready to put the work in, send me an email at ahad@arperformance.com. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. Share the video with someone you think might enjoy it. And be sure to leave a comment with questions, concerns, feedback, any of it. I'm definitely going to respond to you. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.